first place in the NL Central. Going to close out the series with the Phillies this afternoon. Corbin Burns on the mound for the Crew comes in 3-3 with a 2.50 ERA. Going to be looking to bounce back after his worst outing of the season last Friday against the Padres. Philadelphia counters with Zach Eflin. He's 2-4 with a 3.88 ERA. First pitch at American Family Field is set for 1:10.
Head into Fleet Farm to get 20% off Milwaukee Power Tool accessories when you purchase a Fleet Farm bucket. Plus, save on gifts for Dad this Father's Day. Find everything from fishing gear to kayaks, grills to power tools, auto gear, and more. Get it all in one stop. And don't forget to pick up the gift all dads want, a Fleet Farm gift card. So head over for Father's Day gift ideas at the official store of Dad. Fleet Farm.
Well, the Packers were supposed to be on the field for the final day of mandatory minicamp today. Instead, they're doing a team-building activity, paintballing. Past 2 days, though, was the first time we saw a number of veterans on the field this offseason. That included quarterback Jair Alexander. He signed the richest deal for a quarterback in NFL history earlier this offseason. Was asked why it was so important to get that.
I wanted to be recognized as the best player, and the best player get paid the most. So you tell me. You tell me how I felt about that.
The Packers will finish up the offseason with one more week of OTAs next week. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Isle.
Mike will have a story. Absolutely. Mike Clemens going to be talking to us in a short bit. We'll talk with him as the Packers are off today out paintballing. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at MKE Brewing 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee tonight, by the way. Beautiful. If you're heading downtown, beautiful night if you're going to head up onto the patio bar. Rooftop patio bar at MKE Brewing 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. They have a lot of new brews out as well. So check out our friends over there. 877-867-1670. Sammy Watkins met with the media, the new Packers wide receiver, the guy many are depending upon to, in some way, shape, or form, fill the bill when it comes to the loss of Davante Adams. This is Sammy Watkins and the media from yesterday. Take a listen.
Sammy, Aaron was telling us yesterday he likes adding guys that have something to prove. Do you feel you have something to prove still in this league?
I think I told the coach my back against the wall. You know, my career haven't been what I projected to be. It's a great opportunity for me to come here, play hard, catch a ton of balls, compete at the highest level. and win games. And fight to stay healthy. That's been the knock on my career, was staying on the field, and I think this is the best place to stay healthy and stay on the field and catch a lot of balls.
Why do you think this is the best place to stay healthy? Like, what about here could be a difference in that?
I just think the staff, the organization is ran well, and the guys that I'm surrounded around, Aaron Jones, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, a lot of other moving parts on the team. And I just got to come in and take my body, play hard, take coaching, and also be a vet, a leader in the room, and just do whatever in my might and power to stay on the field. Because when I'm on the field, I can ball, I can catch balls, I can score, and I'm a dominant player. But the kids stay on the field.
So you said you think your career is pretty on the top, but outside of injuries, those first 2 years in Buffalo, what do you think happened?
Things happen. I can't stop injuries. What I can try to do is prevent them. And, I think my career has been pretty good. Got a Super Bowl, but I'm here trying to revive my career and play at the highest level and be the best I can.
Sammy, what are your impressions of Matt's passing system and how you think he fit into
I just kind of look at what Devontae Adams' offense, Aaron been doing, and just seeing how can I fit into it, how can I play hard, how can I play my best ball, and just doing whatever I can in my might to help the team. That's what I'm going to do.
Sammy, did you have were other teams interested in, and if so, was it a hard decision, or was it just say this is definitely the place you need?
I think this is probably one of the best situations I've probably ever been in my career, to come play with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best coaches, one of the best organizations, been probably the winningest organization in the league. And to get this opportunity, really a blessing, because I did nothing last year. I was hurt, and to get a call from Matt and this organization kind of revived me, and hopefully I can have a healthy season and play hard and, win a ton of games.
How do you feel your back was against? You said your back against the wall. Why did you kind of have that?
Just injuries. That's kind of the thing that's been the injury bug have been prone to me. And, last year I got hurt again, and I'm thinking, I'm sitting on the couch like, man, I'm going to be out of job. And to get that call is like, man, I got another opportunity, another chance to come in and play hard and stay healthy and hopefully play for another 4 years or 5 or 6 years, whatever that is.
So you were worried about that stuff?
For sure. After injury, you kind of get worried. What is my destiny? What team's going to pick me up? And to get this opportunity, once I said, is like a blessing for me.
Did you learn anything through those injuries as far as what to do differently?
Yeah, I've been learning. That's kind of the biggest thing. I'm a powerful, strong, speed guy, and I got to do just about everything in my might to stay activated and stay on top of my body.
What do you do different now that maybe haven't done it?
A ton of stretching, a ton of things that get in the cold tub, just really trying to do everything I possibly can. This is my ninth year. This league is hard to stay in, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to prolong my career, at least 3, 4, 5, whatever that age I can squeeze out.
How much did working previously with Matt Moore kind of factor into your decision to come here?
I think that was one of the biggest things. I knew that he was great for me in the Rams when my transition there, and got Coach Rabel, the wide receiver coach who I had in Buffalo, coach me hard, and really just bring me back to the kid I was back in Buffalo, and playing hard, playing physical, loving. And I think that's what this is about.
The first time you talked to Rodgers, you said he FaceTimed you when you signed the contract. Was that the first time, or did he reach out a little bit before that?
That was the first time. One thing he said, like, hey, did you sign the contract yet? So I had to, the next day, run over here and sign the contract and get it done. But I just can't wait for this opportunity and come out here and play hard. Like I said, arguably one of the best teams. If you look at the depth chart, best coaches, best organization, and I can't wait to get started.
Were you surprised when your phone rings and it's him on the other side?
For sure. Like I said, I'm thinking like, man, I'm on the couch getting fat, 220 pounds. Like, man, am I going to ever get that call? And then to get the call, it's definitely changed my whole outlook on, coming to the season and how I want to play. And I just can't wait to get started.
So when you look at the wide receiver room, what is it about that receiving core that has you excited to join this offense, especially with the departure of the fans?
I think hats off to the whole offensive staff, Coach Rabel, those guys blocking, those guys catching the balls, and it's not just Devontae Adams. Everybody playing hard, catching balls, and as a collective group, everybody looks the same. So that's the biggest thing with watching film and watching those guys, it's all the guys that's playing hard. It's not just one guy.
Your game that like help stand out with this, despite the injuries, that you can help this offense.
Just being that leader and doing all the dirty work, blocking, whatever I can, whatever the coach asks me to do, I'm willing to go out there and do. Whether that's catching the ball, whether that's blocking, whatever I can. This team been good without me. I'm just coming here to play hard and do what I've been doing.
Aaron said that it's good because guys maybe feel like they've got something to prove. Is that really describe you? What do you think you have?
Definitely have to prove. We're just really just staying healthy, being consistent, and stay on the field. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I can go out there and do all the great things all these other wideouts can do. It's just really being available, and I'm praying to God that I stay and have a healthy season.
Sammy, you said you were fat in 220. What are you now?
Around 215, young, healthy, feel like I'm 18, so it feels pretty good.
Is that your preferred body weight, or what do you think you're best at?
I like to stay around the 210, 215 area. Anytime you go over 220, which I have, and that's when the injuries come.
You said when you got that call, who was the first person from the Packers to contact you directly?
I think it was my agent hit me up and then told me to come down here. And I was like, man, give me an extra day. He was like, no, you need to get there now. So I came up and met with Coach Matt, kind of, as they call it, broke bread, hung out, had fun, talked. And just like I said, this opportunity is really big for me, my family, and just really can't wait to get started.
When you thought the end of your career was here, what kind of emotions were you going through? That sounds like a pretty scary time.
Definitely scary. I told you I got pretty big. You know what I mean? Just not really doing anything. And then once I consciously was like, man, I need to get up and work out. That's when I got this call. And like I said, I think this is something that can help me out, help my career, finish on the right note. And hopefully I can, have a healthy season and ball out.
You start thinking, what's next for you?
Nah, I haven't thought that far. Right now, football is the best thing.
When you thought the end was here,
For sure. I mean, I got a gym. I was working out there, had a ton of kids working with wide receivers, stuff like that. And I got a wife, 3 girls, so that took up a lot of time. But right now, I'm not done yet. I feel like I got a lot more in my tank, a lot of more football to be played at the highest level. And hopefully I can be consistent and stay on the field.
There you go. That is Sammy Watkins. Ben, what'd you take away from that conversation?
Well, it's something that, we definitely knew his career had bounced around a lot and hadn't been what he was drafted to be. So, his attitude and his thought that this can be the place where a regeneration, I guess, can happen. That was good to hear. And that's what you expect from the situation.
It's interesting because on one hand, he's happy. He chose, obviously they're paying him. He probably got one of the better deals. But, obviously he said to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers throw the ball to him that can put it on a dime, that means a lot. But he talks about injuries. He talks about health. He talks about being overweight, out of shape. Like, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't, then he talks about, well, my wife and kids take up a lot of my time. And I get that. But when you're a professional athlete, I'm not knocking him because I want to see what the proof is first. But if his season's not great, it almost sounds like he's part mentally checked out, didn't it?
Kind of. It felt more like maybe he was, after all the bouncing around and getting into this building, is a situation he thinks can recenter him. It's more of what I took away in the positives. Yeah. But maybe
I get it. I get it. But, again, from a guy that I guess, we all want to hear, hey, I was staying in shape. Hey, I wanted to do this. Hey, I really wanted to come here. So, man, I wanted to bust my ass and kind of prove myself. And it was like, no, I'm sitting around. I was getting fat. I'm like, maybe I should get off the couch and work out. It was just a weird dialogue. It wasn't what I was expecting to hear. Put it that way, I guess might be the best way to put it. But
he is wearing number 11, by the way, which in terms of the eye test, I think looks tremendous.
It's a very slimming 11. Hey, real quick, Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady today spoke to the media. And early on, he was peppered with questions about Bruce Arians. And you knew this was going to come up at some point. But today, he was adamant He said he did not have anything to do with, or is there a rift between him and Bruce Arians? With Bruce Arians, who announced his retirement shortly after Brady announced that he was coming back. He said he did not, however, deny any reports that he spoke to Miami Dolphins about joining their organization in some capacity when asked about that. And he would not pressure tight end and close friend Rob Gronkowski to return. But in regards to Arians, he said, quote, zero whatsoever. He and I have a great relationship. Part of the reason I chose here was because of Bruce. I mean, he and I have been incredible communication. I have a great respect for him. He knows how I feel about him. That's the most important thing, and I know how he feels about me. And as for the Dolphins, who reportedly were interested in getting Brady in a front office capacity and or as their quarterback, although he was under contract with the Buccaneers for at least one more season, Brady said, quote, I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. I've had for the last 3 or 4 years of my career about different opportunities and when I'm done playing football and such. I kind of made a decision of what I'd like to do, and I'll get to be in the game of football, talking about his role in the broadcast booth. I think for me, the most important thing here is where I'm at now and what I hope to do for this team. That's been my commitment to this team and to the organization. It's been so much fun for me to come here 2 years ago. It's been almost 2.5 now, and it's been an incredible part of my football journey, and it's not over. With Gronkowski, who Brady lured out of retirement in 2020, the two have gotten together this offseason for throwing sessions, but Brady gave no indication as to whether or not Gronkowski is coming back or not. He said, I think it's just obviously totally up to him, and we'd all love to play with him, but he's got to make the best decision for himself, and he knows that. Anybody who cares about him knows that he's doing what's right for him right now, which is trying to figure it out. We don't have him camp for about 6 weeks, so whatever he's got to do, figure it out. I think he'll be hopeful that he does figure it out, and if he doesn't, we still go out there and figure out what we're going to do. He also opened up the decision to retire, which he said, you go back to the February 1st announcement. He talked a little bit about that and how his family played the integral role in both, as they kind of shifted back and forth as becoming the husband and the father and 3 children to going back to being a quarterback in the NFL. He talks about that as well. But he was adamant when he said, I do not have a strained relationship with Bruce Arians. So there you go. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. When we come back, Mike Clemens going to be joining us. I would assume he dresses a bush in the middle somewhere of a paintball course, as the Packers are out doing that today. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Do you have any specially excused absences from this mandatory period, or is everyone full participation?
Everybody that is currently signed on our rosters is full participation.
Is Lazard here ready to go?
I have not seen Alan. You know, that's something that obviously I always stay out of those situations. I'm certainly hopeful that one does come to a resolution here quickly. We're going to coach who is here, and like I said, we'd love for him to be here.
I love the music. Awesome stuff. Mike Clemens bringing it. And Mike is always brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Bay Motel, quiet, cozy, comfortable. Don't forget about the Bay Family Restaurant, and they have some terrific food, including the chili over at Bay Family Restaurant. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com, and I'm sure they're starting to book up, getting ready for the dates of training camp and such as people start to head towards Green Bay. Mike, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, yeah. And also, I know a lot of people will be up here for that week that the Saints are here for a preseason game, because that'll be the week of the joint practices as well. So, you know, it'll be a great summer.
So today is the day. I swore that I saw you at a Cabela's getting camouflage gear and putting bushes on your head to get out into the middle of a paintball course to try to get the inside scoop as to who's shooting at Rogers.
Yeah, you know, this starts off with, now LaFleur has not been a, you know, team building excursion guy like McCarthy got to be all the time. I mean, and, you know, McCarthy was trying to come up with different ideas every year. One time he actually had, it kind of looked like a kid's party, but he had like lawn darts or something. He had a party at his house and different games and food and all that, you know, in the backyard of his house. So, but, you know, the paintball's been one, the skeet shooting they've done. So LaFleur, so yesterday morning, you know, you get a little lean in before we even started the day. Someone said, you might want to get all your questions in today. And then you say, okay, you know,
right.
Then that means there will be no tomorrows. So, you know, depending on how, you know, your list of things or topics you want to cover, better get it in today's press conference with the coach, better get in today's locker room, because there ain't going to be one. So the players all taken out today by LaFleur, and they're posting some stuff on Instagram that they're all shooting a paintball at each other today. So
Gotcha. Well, there you have it.
Team building. But,
yes.
you know, that's, you know something, you know, you've had these OTAs, you've had a fair amount of fairly decent turnout. We learned this week that Sammy Watkins actually has been to some of those OTAs. He wasn't present in the ones where they let us in for the media. But, you know, and thinking about this and talking to some folks last night about it, it's like, you know, if the coaches, if LaFleur thought, hey, you know what, we checked the boxes on Tuesday and Wednesday and what we've done so far in the OTAs. And, you know, if we can get these guys to learn more about each other, then that's the way you want to send them off, because now that they know each other a little bit more, the most important thing at this level of football is, what do you do on your own time? How hard are you going to work out? How much more extra do you want to be assignment sure on your playbook? Not just for your position coach, but for the guy alongside of you. And so today it's a beautiful day in Green Bay, and if those guys are getting to know each other a little bit better, then that was probably the best move.
So let's start out with a couple of different things here, because you bring up a lot of good points. Let's start out with Aaron Rodgers talking about you know, the passing game, because the questions are all, and nationally I'm watching all the pundits say Packers aren't going to be the same team without Devontae Adams. It's not going to be able to move the football. What are they going to be able to do with the passing game? What's it going to become?
What's the passing game going to become? Yeah, that's a great question. I thought that I was stunned by this. Aaron Rodgers says that, last year 80% of the passing plays were designed for Devontae Adams to target him.
Right.
Which I was shocked by that. I was shocked by that.
Yeah.
And we actually sort of added some of this up, and it's true. If he had like 169 catches, you would have to go 5 more receivers deep to, between Cobb and the rest of those guys to get close to that. But, Rodgers talked about what he thinks this situation is going to look like with all these rookies he's got out there running routes right now.
Well, I think the way that we've played in his absence in the last 7 games or so over the last 3 years, it has been different. Obviously, Aaron Jones has had more opportunities, I think, in those games. Now that we have a really, incredibly complimentary second back, we can get both those guys involved in the passing game. We look for a bounce back year from Bobby, when he's healthy. Tyler Davis is, I think set for him and DeGuara set to really make a push for some reps at tight end as well. But yeah, the offense has to change. I mean, last year, when you have a guy who's that talented, it's probably not an exaggeration to say that 80% of the plays in the passing game were designed specifically for 17. So we're obviously going to do some things a little differently.
Interesting, because that's, Mike, that's pretty significant when you have to then kind of turn around and scrap your playbook for your pass plays because it now has to be designed completely differently, right?
I don't. If that's actually the way Matt LaFleur's menu of plays looked on Saturday, every defensive coordinator in the NFL would love to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll figure out ways to do that." And I'm not a full football focused stat guy, but you got to think at some point that's going to cut down on your yards after the catch. When even if the guy is so talented, he can come off the line and take advantage of the offensive favoring rules of the NFL and catch the pass. That means he's still got 2 guys that are on him that are not going to let him break away. I mean, the biggest play you had against the 49ers was not to Devontae Adams. It was down the right sidelines to Aaron Jones for like 70 yards. And he gets downfield. He gets into the red zone. Then they can't come up with an idea for first or second or third down, and they set up Mason field goal for a disappointing field goal that gets blocked.
Right.
So, that's how your season ended. And then you got Mark Murphy writing in a letter to the fans last weekend like, oh, yeah, you're going to see more of a passing game to Aaron Jones and to A.J. Dillon. And it's like, well, it's interesting they're letting the CEO into the offensive, strategy sessions for the 2022 season. But in fact, that's what everybody around here is saying is like, yeah, they've got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon lining up behind the receivers, taking reps here at this minicamp. They're going to be targeted more often. And in the meantime, still no Alan Lazard here. And he's a second round, restricted free agent tender. What is his motivation? What's his agent's motivation right now? Do they think they've got any leverage to get a contract out of the Packers right now? Anything I say about that is speculation. But Aaron Rodgers was asked about Alan Lazard's situation.
Aaron, have you talked to Alan? And when you look at your wide receiver room, you talked about opportunities. How excited are you about the potential that group has this season?
I like production over potential. We have some production. We have a lot of potential. So we need to temper expectations and heighten the accountability. I think that's the most important thing with those guys. There's guys who've done some things in the league, and there's guys that haven't. They're going to get opportunities. So reasonable expectations for those guys, and then high expectations and accountability for the entire room. Excited about Randall. We played a lot of football together. Excited about Sammy. Excited about Alan Lazard. I mean, he's been our dirty work guy for most of his career. Now he's getting an opportunity to be a number 1 receiver. So I'm not worried about him at all stepping in that role. I've talked to him a lot. I know how he takes care of his body, and I know he'll be ready when he's here.
Interesting that he said he's talked to him a lot. He no insight as to what he's thinking, but he feels like, okay, the guy's going to be good and should be ready to go. Hey, Mike, real quick, I wanted to ask you, and I had this question asked to me as well, but is A.J. Dillon, do you think, taking over the lead role as running back, or do you think it's going to become more of a 50-50 split this year because of the pass catching ability that he's worked on so hard?
No, I think that they still trust Aaron Jones to step up in that role because of some of the games that Aaron Jones has had over the last couple of years when Devontae missed 4 weeks and had that hamstring injury. I can think of some big plays he made in that win that they had a couple of years ago. It was the game in Kansas City that we covered at Arrowhead when Mahomes was out with that ugly dislocated knee. And actually Aaron Jones ended up lining up wide left because that was their speed, about the only speed they had. But A.J. Dillon, and there's going to be a big feature on him that Lori Nickel wrote, is talking about, he knows that in this offseason he's got to work on his hands. Here's the other thing is, remember when we were at Super Bowl and how Aaron Jones has been on your show? He's done 1 hour shows with you 2 or 3 times and everything. What's changed with him? Well, Drew Rosenhaus is now his agent. He switched to Drew when he eventually got that contract out of the Packers late last season. I think he thought he should have gotten a deal about the same time as those other 2 or 3 running back deals went down at the start of last year. And I've noticed that Aaron Jones is still doing a lot of local community things, giving away shoes to kids and all that. And even though he was here every day for the OTAs, did not make himself available to the media. So I think he's kind of got a deal where he's trying to get more national attention, more national sponsorships. So I think he might be saving his comments now a little bit more for that, is maybe some kind of marketing leverage. And in the meantime, A.J. Dillon has become one of the top 2 or 3 vocal leaders, Mr. Door County and all that. He's going to be part of that softball game that they're having on Sunday along with Donald Driver. I mean, that's the way A.J. Dillon is emerging as a vocal leader, not only as a 1,000-yard potential ball carrier in the backfield.
Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break, come back. We got Mike Clemens on the line with us this portion of the program. Brought to you by our good friends over there at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. All you got to do is stop in, tell them we said hi. Curly's right there on Pewaukee Lake. Great fish fry on Fridays as well. Stop in, enjoy a meal outside on the patio above Smokies, right up the road there from Smokies in the launch ramp for the boat ramp for the Pewaukee Lake. Great place, great atmosphere. Go in and watch some sports. They have entertainment on the weekends. Good stuff from Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Saucio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So here's a basic question. How did Aaron Rodgers look from the football yesterday?
The same he always does. You know, it's just like riding a bike for him. You know, you kind of, I was telling somebody yesterday, just when you see it every day, you can take it for granted. And then you don't see it for a period of time. And he comes back and you see how just effortless it is. You're like, oh, I mean, it just reminds you how special it is.
Welcome back to the program. Words of Matt LaFleur. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there in Nice Ash. I was down there yesterday down in Nice Ash. I stopped in, grabbed a couple of cigars. They have a bonus program, too. You get involved in it. And the more you spend, you get points. And then after you get so many points, you get money back. Yesterday, I got $125 back. Nice. They do that down at the Nice Ash. So if you stop in, you're a frequent, whether it's bourbons, smokes, just going in and enjoying the music and having a beverage, whatever it happens to be, go to theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Milwaukee, 323 West Main Street, theniceash.com. Mike Clemens joining us on the line. And Mike, had a chance a little earlier today to listen to Sammy Watkins and the back and forth with the media. I found it interesting. A lot of talk was about injuries, sitting on the couch, not working out. I get it that this is another opportunity for him, but I kind of, it was you can either take it as glass half full, he found a home in Green Bay, or glass half empty, that it sounded like part of him kind of checked out.
I've only been around him a couple times, including the week of the Super Bowl when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl under Andy Reid against the 49ers down in Miami a couple of years ago. So none of us here in Green Bay had a real sense of just what kind of guy he was. And man, he's Packer people. It's like you were talking to Donald Driver or something. Very humble, very modest. Looked good. He comes in on the football field a little bit bigger than what you envisioned him at 6'1" and the upper body. And yet, it's like I've been in the NFL for 8 years, and he was very upfront, as you heard in that presser, about I don't know what it is, man. I'm working hard. I've got speed. I got skill. Jason Vrabel, the Packers receivers coach, said after working with him, Jason was with the Bills staff when he got drafted. He's always put his Sammy Watkins on his personal wish list for Gutekunst if this guy is ever available as free agent. And in the meantime, Sammy goes from the Bills. He's with the Rams when the offensive coordinator there was Matt LaFleur, so LaFleur had time with him there. He puts in the time with the Chiefs, gets a ring, makes a key play where he beats Sherman down the right, Richard Sherman down the right sideline for 38 yards and scores the go-ahead touchdown because the Chiefs were behind through most of that game when they beat the 49ers. And so that's, what you'd like to think he could help out Aaron Rodgers. He goes to the Ravens, gets off to a good start, then has injuries for about 6 weeks. And so he's plagued by that as himself. He didn't know if he was going to get anybody to call him. He said he was putting on weight and all that. So I found that all like this guy has got a good attitude. His receivers coach says you should hear how that guy plucks the ball out of the air, and his technique looked good. And so then Sammy was asked, well, so what are your first impressions after meeting with the staff up here in Green Bay and them saying, hey, get on a plane now, let's sign you on April 14th. And here's what Sammy said.
I just think the staff, the organization is ran well, and the guys that I'm surrounded around, Aaron Jones, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, a lot of other moving parts on this team. And I just got to come in and take care of my body, play hard, take coaching, and also be a vet, a leader in the room. And just do whatever in my might and power to stay on the field. Because when I'm on the field, I can ball, I can catch balls, I can score, and I'm a dominant player. But things happen. I can't stop injuries. What I can try to do is prevent them. And I think my career has been pretty good. Got a Super Bowl, but I'm here trying to revive my career and play at the highest level and be the best I can.
Interesting that he feels he's trying to revive it at this point. He's a guy that comes in as a vet, and there's a lot of eyes on him because they really need him. And he talks about just trying to stay healthy and come back from injuries. The other guy that's trying to come back from the injury is Jair Alexander as well, Mike.
Yeah, and they gave him, he ends up, he damaged his AC joint in a tackle against Najee Harris against the Steelers in Week 4. So it's essentially a broken bone in his shoulder. But he worked very hard to try and get back, got those snaps in the 49ers game, did admit that, maybe he wasn't 100% really for tackling, just only good for coverage in that game. But the team was, they were so impressed by this guy and his swagger and his leadership and his skills as a pass coverage guy. He made a tremendous – on Tuesday, Rodgers hit Christian Watson, the speedy rookie that they took, the first receiver they took, down the left sideline. The very next day, then Jair said, I've got this, and he lined up against him, and he deflected the pass. It's like, don't bring that over to my side. So we asked Jair, what was it like to, after you signed that deal for 4 years more in Green Bay, $84 million, $30 million in the signing bonus?
Oh, man, I feel good. I had on a $5 pair of pants the day I signed my contract, so life was good, baby.
Where'd you get those pants?
Goodwill. Yeah. They still $5. I ain't buy nothing. They still $5. I ain't buy nothing yet.
Is that on the agenda? Is that on the agenda? You want to get some new pants?
Pants. I might buy some new pants.
Okay.
I love the fact that he's at Goodwill buying pants. That's the best. That doesn't change. No matter how many millions you end up with, if you're already an NFL player and you're going to Goodwill to buy pants, that's cool. I like that.
Jair Alexander is just shy of Deion Sanders in the entertainment value. Speedy football player, versatile, smart, a little undersized, but, he wears those sunglasses. He's got the big smile. He's quiet, though. And I said to him point blank, I said, you know, I've seen you dance out of here on Friday afternoon, and 20 of us players, a couple of people in the media just sitting there with their jaws open because he looks like he could be, you know, like what Michael Jackson used to do.
Right.
I said, so, but I said, you know, you're very short and to the point in your communication. I said, so when you're one-on-one with your teammates in a car, or I said, are you a listener? Are you a talker? And he said, no, you know what? I'm introverted. You know, there's parts of me that are kind of shy. You know, I sort of turn it on. He said, but probably the only person I really talk to is my girlfriend. And then I said, so, you know, so what were your feelings to do all that work to try and get back in and lose to a team you beat earlier in the year, the 49ers, at home in the playoffs?
Oh man, it was super bitter, man. Like I was on the end for like maybe like less than 10 plays probably, and like I missed a tackle. I was so upset about that missed tackle. It was my first time tackling in weeks, a few months. So I was pissed, honestly.
How hard was it to tackle though at that point for you with the shoulder?
It was more mental, you know. It was more mental.
Did you replay that play?
Yes. Yeah. It was you know, it's always something that fueled me, and that fueled me for this offseason. I mean, I played against the best receiver in the league, Devontae Adams, all 4 years I've been here, you know, and I'm going to make it, like, as hard as I can for those guys because I know, like, on Sunday it's going to pay off, you know, because iron sharpens iron. So, you know, however I can help to make them better, I'm going to do that.
There you go. That's Jair Alexander. Let's do this. We'll step away. More with Mike Clemens when we come back. In this portion of the program, brought to you by our friends at Cunis RV, where we're going to get the big unit cruiser again this year. Going to have it out of Road America again this year. Traveling to Sturgis again this year. Numerous opportunities to get out and about. Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. If you're looking for a fifth wheel, a motorhome, camper van, travel trailer, whatever it is, all the big name brands, locations all over Wisconsin, and they're continuing to grow. Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer, which means probably the largest selection as well. Go to Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. That is CunisRV.com, and take a look at all their locations, everything they have to offer. They take trades and consignments as well with little hassle. I mean, basically no hassle at all. That way you don't just give it to them. They'll take care of it, and you're good to go, and they'll let you know when the thing sells. It's Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. That is CunisRV.com. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Final segment next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Stop by and tell them both. Say you heard it here, right here on the Bill Michaels Show. So, Mike, you've got Matt LaFleur freshly back. I guess it was kind of a meeting of the minds and a reunion for him at the Sean McVay wedding, right?
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of a poignant moment for him because let me just wrap up the week with this, Bill. And I stand there at practice yesterday, and it's like I'm kind of surprised that those of us that covering the team are not shooting out screaming headlines like, we really have no idea who's going to be on the starting offensive line for training camp or even against the Vikings in this opener. Because over there's David Bakhtiari watch eyes on the exercise machines, like Robert Tonyan at tight end, like Elton Jenkins, who was standing there watching practice, like Kylan Hill, the backup running back and kick returner, all those guys suffering ACLs. Dean Lowry was at these sessions but not participating, so he's got some sort of off-season issue, undisclosed, going on. I mean, there's a lot of Pro Bowlers and all-pro players over there that will probably not even be ready for training camp that LaFleur's got to go on. You look at the new guys, and, there's a good core between, like, John Runyon and then this Jake Hansen. He's moved on. Josh Myers, second-year man at center. But I have no idea what the starting offensive line is going to be. They're trying out Royce Newman at right tackle, at right guard, that kind of thing. And then this wide receiver situation we've talked about without Lazard here. And Rodgers says, you know what, though? I got Randall Cobb in those receivers meetings. He's my best friend on the team now. He'll tell the young guys, here's what Aaron's going to look for. And at the end of the day, though, Matt LaFleur last Friday night and his defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, they both worked for Sean McVay, who's still only 36 years old. I mean, Matt LaFleur's like the old head at 42. And they get on a commercial plane, fly to Detroit, then out to LAX, and they go to McVay's wedding. He marries his beautiful model, Veronica. They got a Super Bowl trophy cake. It's in People magazine this week now, the wedding. And there's Matt LaFleur sitting at a table with one of these dozen McVay coaching tree guys that are now head coaches or offensive coordinators in the NFL. And he's talking to 37-year-old Kevin O'Connell, who he's going to face Week 1. Kevin is the new head coach of the Vikings. Kevin was backup quarterback. He got drafted by Belichick by the Patriots, played backup for the Lions and the Dolphins. Now he's been a quarterback coach and was an offensive coordinator for McVay. Now he's the coach of the Vikings. And there's LaFleur and his former co-worker, O'Connell. They're at McVay's wedding, eating wedding cake, how's the kids, that kind of thing. And, I mean, you think about all these McVay guys from Shanahan and all that versus the old school guys like, McCarthy and Belichick and some of the others. So I asked Matt, I said, so that had to be kind of a special moment, though, to look around the room and say, I came up through the right guy to get my break in the league.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Anytime you get around your friends, it's always a good time, and to celebrate that occasion with him, and that was a special moment, and it was a quick turnaround, landing and spending about 30 hours in Southern California, and then turn around and coming back here. But we had a great time. It's always great to see all those guys, and not only are they great coaches, but first and foremost, they're great people, and we just had a great time.
Good. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all later.
See y'all later. There you go. As a matter of fact, Mike, we got an update. Kirk Bankert says that Jordan Love has got game on the paintball field, sharing ammunition, and he's got some things going on out there. So.
Yeah, every time he overthrows a guy, though, in the preseason games, everyone will say, well, thank God he's a good painter. Right? Why couldn't he hit Randall Cobb?
Well, if he was shooting a gun, a paintball gun, he'd probably hit him between the chest. Otherwise, it's all flailed just a little bit high. What were your takeaways, Mike, even though this team decided to go ahead and do one of those team building days rather than team practice days? Give me your takeaway of the minicamp.
Like I say, I'm kind of surprised more of us aren't sounding the alarm, because usually by this time, after OTAs and a mandatory minicamp, you got a pretty good idea who's going to be the starting 11 on both sides of the football. And I don't on defense. The real positive is to see the possible two speedy corners like Jair and Stokes and Big Rasul Douglas playing the nickel to be more physical. That could be really dangerous and very good for defense. And then a Rich Bisaccia, whole new level of training and technique on special teams that's even's got Aaron Rodgers already a little bit excited.
I was going to say, when you look at Bisaccia, how much of a difference night and day is it compared to what it was?
It's the way he's coaching these. I mean, I've been here through the Slocum and the Zooks and all these other guys. As I said the other day, I'm watching him at one point, Bill, where you thought maybe he quarterbacks or receivers coach. He's running up to guys. He's running up to guys on the punt protection team and saying, "No, wait, here's where your eyes are supposed to be. 6 up 2 fingers, like he's going to poke him." He goes, "You got to look at the linebacker, then you got to look inside here, then you got to look deep at the receiver." And he's looking at their eyes and where they line up and where they put the feet. And it's that kind of attention to detail I haven't seen in a practice ever.
Good stuff.
That's not a real huge story.
No, it's not a huge story. No. Mike, great stuff, and we appreciate it. We'll talk again next week, okay?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. There you go. Mike Clemens, the great Mike Clemens, joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. That's going to do it. Off tomorrow, back at it on Monday. We'll talk to you then. Don't forget about our friends at Epoxy Flooring Done Right. That is epoxyflooringdoneright.com. Sean and the gang can get it done. I just had a friend of mine, Joey, over at Albanese, say they're doing his floor. Fantastic. Stunning. And loved it. Absolutely loves it. Go to epoxyflooringdoneright.com. That's epoxyflooringdoneright.com and get a hold of Sean. Time for us to go. Have a good one. Woo!